Let me tell you something. I'm feeling really good about my World Series picks.
You are Locked On MLB, your daily MLB podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, baseball fans, and welcome to Locked On MLB, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every day. This is the daily podcast. We talk about all of Major League Baseball. I am your host, Paul Francis Sullivan. Please call me, there it is, Sully. I have been a baseball podcaster for well over a decade now, and this is my sixth season here as a host on the Locked On Podcast Network. And if you like this show, and if you follow us at Locked On MLB Pods on Twitter, whatever it's called now, and on Instagram, or you follow me, I'm your pal Sully, but Sully Baseball on Twitter, Sully Baseball Podcast on Instagram, or you subscribe here on YouTube and say, do you know what? I'm going to post stuff there, and I'm going to make some comments. Make sure to put that hashtag Everyday Sully so we have an idea of who's following us every day. Also, if you can't get enough of me, if one show a day is not enough, is that I need more. Well, guess what? You're in luck, because for the time being and for the foreseeable future, I am hosting 5 episodes of Locked On MLB a week and 5 episodes of Locked On A's a week, because our Locked On A's show was without a host and I am filling in. Later in today's show, I'm going to be playing a snippet of the latest episode of Locked On A's, where I talked about something a little more universal. It had something to do with the Aaron Boone ejection. Let's just get down to business a little bit here. Today's episode is brought to you by Monopoly Go. I admit I have a competitive side, and it's a big fan of Monopoly Go, the mobile hit twist on the classic Monopoly game. So join your friends and download Monopoly Go, now free on the App Store and on Google Play. By the way, Stacey Gotsulias, the wonderful host of Locked On Yankees for the last bunch of years, apparently she's playing Monopoly Go every day. It's fun. What do you want me to say? We're going to go over a couple things here. First and foremost, let's get the answer to the trivia question. We had the question was, who is the only person to have their 500th home run be a walk-off shot? And a couple of people got this one right. Who do we have on there? Let's see. Who am I going to give this to? Well, John Murphy Jr., walk-off home run that was the 500th home run. So there you go. Scott Horstmeyer also got it right. But Scott, I'm going to address something with you a little later in the show. A little olive branch going out right there. The beginning of the year, I picked the World Series to be the Philadelphia Phillies and the Baltimore Orioles. And while it is an outrageously early point in the year to be talking about anything like saying your picks are right, wow, it's starting to feel like those picks were not dumb. It certainly doesn't. First of all, the Baltimore Orioles won today. They got Mike Trout striking out in the bottom of the ninth inning as the winning run at the plate. Craig Kimbrell, who somehow is, I think it's 8th all-time in saves. And he's had a wonderful career. But I just having flashbacks to the 2018 postseason where they hand him the ball and you go, yikes. He's a roller coaster ride. He gets saves, but he's a roller coaster ride. He got Mike Trout with as the winning run at the plate. Boom. They got the victory. The Orioles got the victory, and the A's shut out the Yankees. If you want more about that, listen to me on Locked On A's. And because of that, despite the Yankees getting off to this wonderful, terrific start, and everyone's saying, oh, my God, this Yankee team's amazing. As of right now, the Orioles have leapfrogged the Yankees, and the magic number for the Baltimore Orioles to clinch the American League East has been reduced to 140. Yes, I know that's completely absurd to be looking at stuff like that, but hey, part of this show is kind of sort of absurd. I'll tell you, one of the things that's really doing the job in Baltimore is their bats. I mean, they're getting production from so many players, and it's quite frankly allowing them to have some growing pains for Jackson Holiday. Today, James McCann homered. Adley Rutschman got RBI single and an RBI double. Colton Cowser already has 6 home runs this year. And just up and down the lineup, this Orioles team can just mash. I mean, Henderson went 2 for 4 today. He got a triple and scored. And I mentioned McCann and Cowser's home runs. Westberg has had some big numbers. His OPS is nearly 1,000 right now. And so you go up and down the Orioles lineup. It's so much power. It's so consistent. And you have 2 players whose OPSs are almost, or who are over 1,000. You have a couple more that are over 900. Santander, who has struggled a little bit, but definitely has some pop. If they get Jackson Holiday to hit and Austin Hayes to hit, this lineup is going to be absolutely just tremendous. But they're also getting quality pitching, and the Corbin Burns trade so far has been nothing short of fantastic. Cole Irvin pitched a terrific game the other day. Look, Craig Kimbrell is going to give you agita on the mound, but he already has 6 saves, and his ERA is sub 1. Webb has been pitching well out of the pen. Cano has been pitching well out of the pen, and they have so much depth on the team. And then, of course, there's another great story, which is Albert Suarez. He got his first win since 2016. 2016. And, he came in and he was terrific. He pitched a shutout into the 6th inning, 5 2/3 scoreless innings from Suarez. And if he pitches well and can help them absorb the loss of Tyler Wells to the injured list, then I'm telling you, they are right now. I think a lot of people picked them to win the division. They won the division last year, and they're better this year. And they have been on an absolute tear. They're on an absolute tear right now. In fact, let's just take a quick peek. I'm going to baseballreference.com, the single greatest website in the history of the planet Earth. And remember when the Pirates had that weird game where it was a walk-off win for the Pirates when it was going to be a game-ending double play, and the Rodriguez threw the ball into the stands. It suddenly became a game-winning play for the Pirates. At that point, the Orioles were 5-4. Like, okay, but the Yankees were 8-2. Everyone's panicking. The Orioles have played 13 games since then, have won 10 of them. They're 10-3 since then, and finding ways to win every which way you can. The only team that's better than them in that same stretch are the Philadelphia Phillies, the team that I picked to win the World Series. I picked Baltimore to go to the World Series, but I picked Philadelphia to win the World Series. And while as of this particular nanosecond, they are, I think, they're still trailing Atlanta, but I think it's the way that they've been playing has been just fantastic. Right now, they're 15-8. They're 2 games back in the loss column of Atlanta. Again, too early to be looking. You don't look at standings until June. But if you take a look at this team, the way they have it, Harper has adjusted well to first base. You have his bat there. You're having more of Kyle Schwarber's magic, where he doesn't hit for a high average, but he gets on base and homers at will. And then Turner is phenomenal so far this year. Marsh has been giving some solid hits. But do you know who was really great for him? Suarez. Not Albert Suarez, Ranger Suarez, as he pitched a fabulous game. And lest we forget, he is continuing his scoreless inning streak. It's currently, what's it now? It is at it's at 25 straight scoreless innings. And against the Cincinnati Reds, who are a team that can hit. And here's the thing, when I do Who Owns Baseball, it always seems like I'm putting a Philadelphia starting pitcher on there. Aaron Nola has been tremendous. Zach Wheeler nearly threw a no-hitter the other day. Spencer Turnbull has been terrific. Ranger Suarez has been terrific. Christopher Sanchez has done his job. I mean, that's the deepest starting five in the game right now. Now, they've not been getting great work out of Jose Alvarado, but Junior Marte has pitched well out of the bullpen. Matt Strahm has pitched well out of the bullpen. Jeff Hoffman has pitched well out of the bullpen. And Junior Marte has pitched well out of the bullpen. They're going to have to eventually hand the ball to someone else. But you know what? Give Mr. Thompson credit. I was not a big fan of Thompson taking over the Phillies when they let go of Girardi midway through 2022. But do you know what? He's been the man, and he's done the job. And I'm telling you, right now, when you have the Phillies who be able to pitch with anybody, and they still haven't had Harper or some of the players really take off. And now you're seeing Baltimore, if their pitching staff can continue to go well, and they can hit the way they can. I know it's April, but folks, did I make a good pick or what? I'm going to be going to a bunch of baseball games this year in Los Angeles, Orange County, San Francisco, Oakland, even upstate New York. And the only thing that I'm going to go for every one of them is using Game Time. It's now an authorized ticket marketplace for Major League Baseball, which makes getting tickets even faster and easier. Prices on the Game Time app go down the closer it gets to first pitch. With killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, views from the seat, the lowest price guarantee, Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying tickets. You get zone deals. You could save even more when you choose a section and let Game Time choose the seats. You can get the Game Time credit for the lowest price guarantee. They will credit you 110% the difference if you get a better deal elsewhere. And your purchase is covered by the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONMLB. Once again, create an account, redeem the code LOCKEDONMLB, and you get $20 off your first purchase. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, the lowest prices, they are guaranteed. Let's talk a little bit about our friends at Policygenius, which is the nation's leading online marketplace. It saves you time and money so you can provide your family with a financial safety net of life insurance starting today. With Policygenius, you can find life insurance policies that start at just $292 per year for $1 million worth of coverage. Some options offer same-day approval and avoid unnecessary medical exams. Life can be unpredictable, and Policygenius can take away some of the worries of what your family would do if something happened. Policygenius gives you unbiased advice from a licensed expert support team. They have no incentive to recommend one insurer over another, so you can trust their guidance. Thousands of 5-star reviews on Google and Trustpilot from customers who found it the best fit for their needs with Policygenius. Check life insurance off your to-do list with Policygenius. Head to policygenius.com/LockedOnMLB or click the link in the description to get your free life insurance quotes and see how much you can save. That's policygenius.com/LockedOnMLB. Hey, are you continuing to watch Fox Sports or ESPN for all your sports news? You tired of all the yelling and screaming there? Well, I have a new place for you to go to. Make the switch to Locked On Sports Today, a free 24/7 sports streaming channel programmed for you every day to bring the biggest stories without all the screaming. Locked On Sports Today brings you can't-miss analysis, opinions, and news streaming, not screaming, 24/7 on YouTube or the free Amazon Fire TV's channel app. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, where it is your team every day. Do you want a really good game today? Suarez. Now, I mentioned Ranger Suarez had a really good game today as he pitched more shutout innings. I mentioned Albert Suarez got his first win since the Obama administration and giving the Orioles another big win. But do you also had a good game today? Suarez. Robert Suarez, the closer for the San Diego Padres, who closed out Dylan Cease's victory against the Colorado Rockies. Do you know, I mean, look, I don't want to just get ahead of myself here, but let's just say tomorrow the Dodgers lose and the Padres win. Then at least for one day, the Padres will be in first place. A big part of that is Suarez. Now, also knocking on the door of first place right now are the Seattle Mariners. Now, they didn't win last night, but do you know what? They got a really good performance out of their lineup. Do you know from whom? From Suarez, Eugenio Suarez, who went 3 for 4 yesterday and collected 5 total bases. But the Mariners fell. The Diamondbacks. Wait. Oh, I messed that up. That's right. I keep forgetting Eugenio Suarez is on Arizona. Ow! Oh, you know what? I saw Suarez also went 3 for 4 and said, oh, they could do the Mariners too. And I completely forgot he was on Arizona. Oh, my God. Well, do you know what? Sometimes you just you stub your toe. By the way, the Mariners are only half a game behind the Rangers. Of course, it's really early, but it's fun to see how tight some of these races are. The Orioles are half a game ahead of the Yankees. The Rangers are half a game ahead of the Mariners. The the Braves are a game ahead of the Phillies. The Brewers are a game and a half ahead of the Cubs. And the Dodgers, believe it or not, only half a game ahead of the Padres. Do you know who has the biggest lead of any division leader by far right now? Do you know? It's the Cleveland Guardians, who, as of this recording, have the best record in the American League. And as of this recording, have the biggest lead, 3.5 games over Detroit and of Kansas City. That's strange. That's a little weird. Hey, we got some comments coming on here. So hold on a second. Which closer are you? There's too many. There's too many things on my screen right now. So hold on one second. I'm going to take down my lower third. Johnny T16, which closer are you choosing? Suarez or Camilo Del Valle? I like Del Valle, but right now I think Suarez is pitching pretty well. But neither one are a bad choice. They're both good, solid choices. We're going to have to see for now. Argenis Richard, if I mispronounce that, please forgive me. What a day for Venezuelan baseball. Ronald Acuna keeps stealing bases, and that's Suarez's outing. Yeah, well, Acuna is so tremendous. And, and by the way, dude was also tremendous. And I, to my best of my knowledge, he's not Venezuelan. But Travis d'Arnaud hit yet another home run. And by the way, Roger Clemens' kid, Cody Clemens, hit a home run in the Phillies' victory over Cincinnati. And hey, just turn back the clock night in Pittsburgh. A great outing from Andrew McCutchen. He went 3 for 4, homered, and the Pirates doubled up the Brewers. And, they're going to go. So Reinhard Suarez, Eugenio Suarez, that's right. D-backs. I know. I was going to mention the fact it was a good night for Suarez's, and I did it too quickly. Johnny T says he's taking Doval, not just because I'm a Giants fan. No, I think they're both good. I think Doval's been terrific. I think Doval's been absolutely terrific. But there you go. We're gonna take a quick break here. When we come back, I got a little bit of house cleaning to do, and I have a solution to help us avoid some ump shows. Guys, I have a huge announcement. I've been tracking the leaderboards every day, keeping an eye on the scores, putting my heart into it, and I'm really, really happy to announce I'm on top. That's right. Obviously, I'm talking about the hit mobile game Monopoly Go. Perhaps you've heard of it. Perhaps you watch Locked On Yankees, and Stacey Gotsulias is playing it every day, and she's one of the people who have downloaded it. There have been over 150 million downloads, but I'm on top right now. It's a great mobile twist on the classic Monopoly. You can play anywhere, anytime. You can explore hundreds of Monopoly boards from Las Vegas to Camelot to the moon, all while raking in a huge fortune. Charge rent on iconic properties just like classic Monopoly. You can charge your friends rent on iconic properties or go after their Monopoly money by pulling bank heists and taking wrecking balls to their landmarks. But my favorite part is the leaderboards where you can see who's a Monopoly tycoon and who's gone bankrupt. Go get yourself up the charts. Download Monopoly Go, now free on the App Store or on Google Play. Here's a reminder that Locked On has begun the first ever national 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube. And now it's available on Amazon Fire TV and the free Fire TV's channel app. Locked On Sports Today is here for you 24/7, covering the top sports stories of the day with local experts on Locked On, plus our national shows covering every league. Find Locked On Sports Today, now available on the free Fire TV channel app. Okay, let's take care of a couple of house cleaning things. Yesterday, we had a big tech problem in the middle of the episode that I had with Brett from Locked On Astros. I was talking about Bob Clark and making the comparison with, you know, making the saying that the whole concept of Snell having an okay career with a couple of the huge outlier seasons was like Bob Clark, who was a director who directed some good films, some bad films, was a journeyman director. In the middle of his career, he made A Christmas Story. So in the middle of this career with like the Porkies and the Rhinestones and the Loose Cannons, all these films that are like, whatever. And then he makes an absolute classic that everyone loved, and then right back to it. No disrespect to the late Bob Clark, but that's a little bit of what Blake Snell's career was like. That's what that was about. Oh, I promised that one of the everyday Sullys, Scott Horstmeyer, he was not allowed to listen to me because I kind of degraded MLS soccer when I was saying that New York hasn't had a major championship since the Giants Super Bowl in 2012, and no, I don't count MLS. And apparently his wife heard that and was mad. So I'm gonna do my best to give an olive branch out to there. Maybe this is a little bit of my stubbornness, or the fact that I remember when the league was formed and absolutely nobody was watching it, and maybe there's part of that. It's still in my head. But my biggest problem with counting MLS as on the same level as something like the NFL, Major League Baseball, the NBA, NHL, or even the WNBA, all those different leagues, the best players in the world come to those other leagues. You're the best players in baseball, you're going to come to Major League Baseball. Same thing, the NHL takes people from all over the world, as does the NBA. That's kind of the goal, and that's where they pay the most. There is not a single player playing Major League Soccer, even at the highest level, that if they got a chance to jump ship and go play for Real Madrid or AC Milan or Manchester United, one of the premier leagues of Europe, they would do it in a heartbeat because they pay more. Yes, you'll see some big stars that get a big, huge contract to come over to play in MLS, but that's kind of like the way that the Japanese league would pay for American superstars to come over there. My main point was if it's a league where you would automatically jump ship to a higher league, then I'm not going to put it at the same level as those others. That being said, if you want to include the MLS championship that they won a few years ago as a major New York championship, be my guest. But chances are, if you're a New York sports fan, there is a team that you hold on a higher regard. I don't know how many New York sports fans have the MLS team as their top team. And so if you disagree with me, I just, then there's nothing I could say, but that's the reason I did. And hopefully you allow Scott to listen to the rest of the shows. And then here we go. Boone's ejection was silly and uncalled for. Setting it up. I talked about it on today's episode of Locked On A's, of which I'm guest hosting. And I had some definite thoughts about it. So I'm going to play you a clip from the Locked On A's show where I talked about the Boone ejection. The manager for the Yankees, Aaron Boone, is someone who is, well, he's a smidge fiery. Aren't we all a bit smidge fiery? But he's a smidge fiery and gets ejected a lot. He's from a baseball family, of course, the Boone family, Ray Boone, Bob Boone, Brett Boone, Aaron Boone, and the like. Hoss Boone, I think, was there. Chico Boone, Zeppo Boone. All the Boones were there. Well, he has been one to argue and get tossed. Well, there was something that happened in the game today involving Hunter Wendelstedt, who is the home plate umpire. Now, Boone was yelling some stuff to the umpire during the first inning. And Wendelstedt, and they caught this on a hot mic, yelled back to him, it was like, I just was doing this, that, and something. Don't say another word about it, you're tossed. And Boone kind of went, all right. And then you see it. It's incredible. If only Abraham Zapruder was this clear. Boone was shown on camera not saying anything. There was a guy who was sitting up in the stands right above the Yankee dugout who yelled out something to the ump. The ump then turned around. Hunter Wendelstedt turned around and threw Boone out. Boone said, I didn't say anything. And he said, I don't care. So what do you mean you don't care? I didn't do anything. And, he threw him out and swear words were said. And Wendelstedt, and it's on video, that not only did he not say anything, but that he was making the effort to, sort of, okay, my bad. And it was a dude, a Yankee fan, who just yelled something, and he got him tossed. So the Yankees don't have their manager for the rest of the game. And then the video comes out, and it's incredible video. And Hunter Wendelstedt gave one of the absolute weakest and most pathetic apologies I've ever seen. He said, apparently what he said was there's a fan right above the dugout. This is my first ejection in the entire my career. I've never ejected a player or manager for something a fan has said. I understand that's going to be part of the story or something like that because that's what Aaron was portraying. I heard something come from the far end of the dugout. Had nothing to do with this area, but he's the manager of the Yankees, so he's the one that's got to go. And he said, it doesn't matter who said it. Boone had to go. It's not what Boone is portraying. That's what happened. Now, if Hunter Wendelstedt said, I thought it came from him, I ran him, now I see the video, and oh man, my bad. Nothing but respect for the guy if that's what happens. Anything short of that, he should be fined. He absolutely should be fined. We see on the video, Boone's like, okay, I'm not going to say a word. And then, Louis from the Bronx yells something. Oh, who am I kidding? That's he's Chesterfield from Westchester County or some blue blood was the one because they're the only ones who could afford those seats behind the dugout. Got Boone ejected. So let me make a humble request to umpires because someone said something on Twitter that I thought was pretty funny. Mike Dro, who's on Twitter, said, when you know the umpire's name, they did a bad job. Absolutely. Here's the deal. Umpires, you've got to develop a little bit of a thick skin. I understand you don't want to get the game out of hand, but if someone's yelling something from the dugout, it's not disrupting the flow of the game. It's not. If they're yelling something, come up to them between it and say, hey, knock it off, you all. But you cannot throw someone out of the game for something they're yelling from the dugout. If they come out of the dugout, fair game. But if they're just yelling from the dugout, I'm sorry. You should have thick enough skin to be able to say, I'm moving on. They're not disrupting the flow of the game. And especially if it's a fan in New York, and I've been to a few games in New York City. I don't want to shock you, but sometimes the fans' language could be, I don't know, a tiny bit offensive. Get over it. If they're doing it from the dugout, it doesn't matter if it's Aaron Boone or whomever else. You can't throw them out. And it's telling that someone from the stands could yell something that gets the manager thrown out, you know for a fact it's not the manager disrupting the flow of the game. That's my new rule. That would be my rule as the commissioner of baseball. If you come out of the dugout, fair game to be thrown out. If you're still in there, yeah, let it slide. Yeah, let it slide. And by the way, that's from Locked On A's, who I'm hosting all week long. So, yeah, that was the most ridiculous ejection I've seen in a very long time. So there you go. Hey, let's do today's trivia question, and hopefully Scott Horstmeyer gets forgiveness. I can continue listening. I bet he'll get this right. The Orioles are still aiming for their first World Series in over a generation. Who was the last Baltimore Oriole to earn a save in the World Series? That's your trivia question. Who was the last Oriole to earn a save in the World Series? Put your answers right down at Locked On MLB Pods on Twitter or on Instagram. And I am your pal Sully at Sully Baseball on Twitter, Sully Baseball Podcast on Instagram. Seeing that the Phillies and the Orioles are doing their job, and umpires, do your job and get some thick skin. And if your name is Suarez, go to Prize Picks and, vote yourself up. This has been Locked On MLB. I am your host, Paul Francis Sullivan. Please call me Sully.